Welcome back to RUDE Podcazt. I'm your host, Nicole Mack. Thank you for joining me. RUDE stands for Resilient Understanding and Development Empathy. Today, we're talking about something that took me a long time to understand boundaries. And I'm not talking about putting a wall up around yourself and never letting anybody in. I'm talking about the learn the word say no. Learning when to walk away, learning that everybody does not deserve access to you, and most important, learning that protecting your peace does not make you a bad person. I didn't always know that. For a long time, I thought loving somebody meant being there no matter what they did. I thought being family meant you had to tolerate things that hurt you. I thought being a good person meant giving people chance after chance after chance. But life taught me something different. Sometimes the people you love the most are the people you need the strongest boundaries with. So before we go and get into this conversation, I want to pray. God, thank you for allowing me to be here today. Thank you for every person listening. Help us recognize the difference between loving someone and losing ourselves trying to love them. Give us the courage to say no when we need to say no. Give us wisdom to know when something is no longer healthy for us. Help us release the guilt that sometimes comes with choosing ourselves and remind us that protecting our peace does not mean we don't love we don't love them or we don't love people. Sometimes it means we're finally learning to love ourselves too. I'm gonna say. Now, I didn't know about when I was growing up. I'm gonna say I didn't know about boundaries. Maybe it was silly to you, but I didn't know. Nobody set me down when I was young and said, Nicole, this is boundaries. Nobody taught me that I had the right to say, don't talk to me like that. Don't touch me like that. Don't treat me like that. I'm uncomfortable. No. When you're growing up in situations where you're trying to survive, you're not necessarily thinking about boundaries. You're thinking about getting through the day. And when that becomes normal, you carry that same behavior into adulthood. You stay, you start saying, well, that's just how they are. They didn't mean it. They just their family. I don't want any trouble. I just I just want to let it go. Or I need to see my grandkids. So you tolerate a lot of things to put up with a lot of things. So you just have to let things go. And every time you let something go that is hurting you, you're teaching yourself that everybody else feels feelings matters more than yours. I had to unlearn that. One of the hardest places to create boundaries can be with family because people will tell you, but that's your family. Okay, it is. But being related to someone doesn't give them permission to disrespect you, right? It doesn't give them permission to disturb your peace, right? And it doesn't mean they automatically deserve unlimited access to your life, right? So I spent years feeling responsible for other people. I wanted to help. I wanted to fix things. I wanted everybody to be okay. Sometimes I carried responsibility that wasn't mine because that was what I learned to do. Even then, I had to ask myself, eventually, I'm sorry, eventually I had to ask myself, who's taking care of me and why I'm taking care of everybody else. That's when my understanding of boundaries changing. I start loving you and still say no. I can still love you and still say no. I can pray for you and participate in your and not participate in your chaos. I can want to be the best for you and still decide that I cannot be around certain behaviors. Distant always mean Distance does not always mean hatred. Sometimes distance means healing. I also learned boundaries through relationships. There were times in my life when I stayed too long and I forgave too much and I accept apology without seeing change behavior. And there's a difference between somebody saying they're sorry and somebody actually changing. I didn't always understand that. I thought I thought forgiving meant giving another person a chance after chance after chance, and another. Eventually, I had to realize love should not require you to lose yourself. Love should not require you to certain approve your worth, and somebody loving you does not give them over ownership of you. Today, I understand something I wished I had understood years ago. You can forgive somebody and still decide they no longer have access to you. Forgiveness and reconciliation are not the same thing. Reconcile, I'm sorry, I said the wrong word. Reconcile. Let's talk about the little words. No. Why is this so hard to say? Because you think you love the person that much, where you would go through that much nonsense to say no to them. Because some of us were taught that there's no word, no, because some of us was taught that saying no was disrespectful. We were taught to explain ourselves. No, because I can't, because I'm sorry. But sometimes you don't need a paragraph. I'm not doing this anymore. I have to tell myself that's shock. But sometimes people aren't upset because you change. They're upset because their access to you change. That's the big difference. I want to make something very clear. A boundary isn't, I'm going to hurt you because you hurt me. That's not revenge. Boundary is, I'm not going to allow this behavior in my life anymore. There's a difference. Boundary does not choose and control somebody else. You can't say no. My boundaries is that you have to change. That's not boundary. A boundary saying, a boundary saying, if this country that there's what I'm going to do. I'm sorry. And this carrying on chaos without boundaries, you're gonna find yourself saying, "Is this what I'm going to do, or this what I'm not going to do?" Allow myself to keep going through. You're not going to keep allowing yourself to keep going through that. I wrote something a little different, but my handwriting looks crazy. If you're yelling at me, I'm ending this conversation. Phone, text, Facebook, Instagram, email, block, block, block. And everybody can contact you. Doesn't mean you're required to respond. You don't have to argue any comments. You don't have to defend your entire life to strangers. You don't have to respond to every negative opinion. And everybody watching you does not need to know everything you're going through. Sometimes we need to stay private while you're healing. That's a boundaries too. So that's why people be asking me like, why are you telling people your business? Because I'm healed from that situation. So I could tell you what I'm no longer phase me. Oh, what you said to me, I'm gonna cry, bawl my eyes out. That's not gonna happen. So today my boundaries sound different. No, I cannot do that. I'm not discussing that. Please don't speak to me that way. I need some time. Respect yourself. That doesn't work for me. I'm going to end this conversation now. No thanks, no screaming, no fighting, no 10-page explanation because I learned that a boundary does not need everybody approval to violate. Maybe you're listening right now thinking, I need boundaries. Start small. You don't have to cut everyone out of your life. You don't have to you don't have to just go and cut everybody out. You can start small. Me, I just started really big because it was a lot of BS and a lot of constant chaos. So I just went huge and distanced myself from everybody because I seen that it was going down a path where I did not want to go. I mean, once someone keep draining you, what do you supposed to do? Who makes me feel like I constant have to defend myself? They did. What do I have to keep arguing with them for? Why do I have to agree to whenever I want to say no? I have to explain why I'm saying no, and the conversation just keeps still sounding out of place, but you're still saying no, but they don't hear you saying no. Then when you scream no, then you are rude. So welcome to rude again. But this one is resilient, understanding, develop, and empathy. So what would you change in your life if you stop feeling guilty for protecting your peace? That's a question for you. Think about that. Sometimes the boundaries isn't about changing other people. It's about changing you. Are you going to accept? I learned everything I learned is an experience in my life. I understand boundaries differently now. Boundaries isn't hatred. Boundaries isn't selfish. Boundaries isn't punishment. Boundaries isn't information. It tells people this is how I expect to be treated. This is what I will accept. This is what I will not accept. And this is what I'm going to do if the line continue to be crossed. Some people will respect it, some won't, but their reaction doesn't determine whether your boundaries was necessary. So I'll say this in my closing statement. Before we go, I want you to repeat after me. I'm allowed to protect my peace. I'm allowed to protect my peace. I'm allowed to say no. I'm allowed to say no. I'm allowed to change my mind. I'm allowed to change my mind. I'm allowed to walk away from what hurts me. I'm allowed to walk away from what hurts me. I can love people without losing myself. I can love people without losing myself. I don't own anyone access to me. I don't own anyone access to me. My boundaries are not disrespectful. My boundaries are not disrespectful. My boundaries are an act of self-respect. My boundaries are an act of self-respect. And mostly, I don't have to feel guilty for choosing peace. So this is RUDE Podcast, Resilient Understanding, Develop, and Empathy. If this episode spoke to you, please share it with somebody who needs to hear it. And remember, you don't have to become mean to develop boundaries. You just have to become clear. If you see, if you see someone disrespecting your boundaries, that's when you put your hand up as you saying stop while they're talking, and that should give them a cue that you're trying to protect your peace, and tell them no, no. I'm not accepting this. I'm not trying to get involved with this. This is not my case. This is not my problem. And walk away. That's the best thing you can do. Because in my situation, that did not happen. I kept asking for peace, but people kept wanting to show me chaos. And then when I wanted to walk away, people was holding me back. No, 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 don't go, don't go, don't go, don't go. Why not? When you bringing me chaos, I don't understand that. I didn't understand that at the time. I do now, but I didn't understand at the time. People are rude too. It's just that it's not my rule. So I'll see you on the next episode of RUDE Podcast. Until then, protect your peace, respect yourself, and remember, give yourself grace, give yourself love, give yourself time, smile. No, it's a complete sentence. You do not have to. That sheet right there. Well, it was like, okay, it's gone. But I had a sheet right there with a whole list of boundaries that I had in my house. So when people come over, they can read it. I guess they missed that memo. So thank you for watching Rude Podcast. Until next time, I'm your host, Nicole Mack. And thank you for listening to me.